Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Logan, and there's Jayson. And Jayson is broadcasting remotely today. He is in St. Louis visiting his grandpa, but he still wanted to do a video this week, and he wanted to talk about action movies.
Action movies.
Just pick the broadest possible thing you could think of. So that's what we're going to do, another haphazard fun discussion. We haven't planned anything ahead of time, no idea where this conversation is going to go. We'll talk for half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, about action movies. So Jayson, why'd you pick this topic?
Cause it was the first thing that I thought of. I was like, I want to talk about something, and I don't know, I guess like movies like Demolition Man and like The Terminator came to my head, and I was like, let's talk about action movies.
Sure, yeah. So we're not going to do a list or anything. We're not doing like top 5, top 10 action movies, but certainly some of our favorites will come up. Jayson, do you think of yourself as an action movie guy?
Yeah, I think so.
As you were growing up, I feel like, as you were growing up, he's still growing up, but I feel like as a little kid, a lot of your favorite movies were in this genre.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? And we kind of struggled as you were, 7, 8, 9, like, what movies are like too violent, too adult to show you, because there are a lot of things of this ilk, like you said, your Demolition Mans and your RoboCops and that kind of thing that you were really interested in, really curious to look at, that you were a little young for.
Yeah. I am glad you showed me those, not really at a young age, but like 9 or 10.
Relatively young, yeah.
Relatively young, yeah.
Not crazy. I mean, you were watching RoboCop at 6, but
no, I wasn't. I think I watched RoboCop at like 8 or 9. I can't remember.
You kind of flirted with action at the same time as you were flirting a little bit with what horror I felt like I could get away with showing you.
Yeah, Poltergeist and
Poltergeist.
And Poltergeist, yeah.
What else? There were another. I think you watched the first half of Psycho at one point. Never finished it.
Yeah, well, I think you had like a You Made Me Watch or something for Psycho, and you were gonna review it, and so you watched it, and I watched it with you, and it was around Halloween, and then I fell asleep during it.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Hi guys.
That's kind of a boring movie.
Watching live, appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching this after the fact as well. Tyler Thompson says, my favorite action movie is probably Die Hard with a Vengeance or Terminator 2. Jayson, have you seen any of the Die Hards past the first one?
I've only seen the first one.
I figured that would probably come up too. Does that stick with you at all?
Yes.
Do you like that
little
movie?
bit.
What do you remember about Die Hard?
I remember it's about Christmas, and I remember there's a lot. I remember there's a scene where he's like super bloody and he's in a bathroom, and I remember he jumps out of a window like 5 times in a row.
Yeah, he does jump out of a lot of windows. What I remember from that movie from when I was younger, I don't remember what age I saw that at, but probably a teenager. The scene that always stuck with me was just the glass in the foot.
Yeah, that's the scene that stuck with me too.
Just makes me go, ugh.
Ugh. Yeah.
That and Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to show you the other Die Hards at some point. I remember liking Die Hard with a Vengeance a lot, but I didn't see the one after that because everybody said it was awful.
Oh.
But that's the movie that's got Kevin Smith in it, and they have a lot of chemistry. And Kevin Smith was a diehard, no pun intended, fan of Bruce Willis, and then they started doing things together, and it ultimately ended up being kind of a don't meet your hero sort of situation, apparently, with Kevin Smith, which is really sad. But and the whole Bruce Willis situation is sad anyway. He's kind of gotten dementia, and he can't act anymore, and
yeah,
that whole thing is unfortunate. Nicholas Bodo, hi Cap, is Jayson old enough to have seen John Wick? I don't know if he is, but he has.
Yeah, I've seen all 4 of them.
I took him to see 4 in the theater.
They're really good. They have some of the most, what's the word? Like, creative action.
Yeah. And I know that
'Cause
some of the violence in those was a little bit difficult for you, a little bit cringe-inducing, especially with that third one.
I have a problem with knives, and that third one has a lot of knife stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Was there anything besides the obvious scene that probably bothered everybody with 4 that was too difficult for you to look at?
Um, I can't remember if it was 4 or 3. And this is like minor spoilers. There's a scene where he's getting like I can't handle when there's like any like doctor scenes when they have to like stitch him up and stuff.
That's
And
that's the beginning of 3. Yeah.
yeah, is that the beginning of 3?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember if there was if that was also in 4, because he has to like stitch himself up or something, and I can't handle that.
So he goes incommunicado at the end of 2,
Yeah.
and then he's got an hour to get out of town or to, do whatever he's going to do before everybody comes after him. And remember, they're going down to the wire with his friend who's trying to sew him up,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that
which
now.
is a super intense but fun scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, Die Hard had to come up right away. I haven't seen any of those in a real long time. I think somebody did a request before we were calling it that, before I had Austin on the show, for Die Hard, maybe 3 years ago. I had a short stint where I was writing those. I did like real short written reviews, and I think I wrote a review for Die Hard.
Oh.
Now they're lengthy, meandery discussions with Austin. We get a lot more talked about, but
Yeah. Do you prefer those? The discussions?
oh, I thought you meant, do I prefer Die Hard? Do you prefer Die Hard to any other action movie? Die Hard's fun. I mean, I enjoy that movie. It definitely is worth having the reputation that it does as kind of the consummate action movie. But yeah, I like the discussions we're doing, Jason. I like exploring these movies and just seeing where that conversation ends up going.
Yeah.
Over doing just a rigid, short, kind of walking out of the theater sort of review.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of a combination of how we felt about the spoiler cast,
Yeah.
which is what a lot of our new movie reviews have turned into as well. Robert Wild, $2 super chat. Mission Impossible has the best action movies now, almost indisputably, I think. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm saying that having only seen the last one. I think 5, or are we on? Or is the new one 6 or 7? I think 5. I forget because I don't know that franchise very well. Obviously,
Yeah, the new one is 6.
That's what
and
I
it's
thought,
Part
okay.
1, and then the 7's gonna be part 2.
So I saw 1 back when it came out and kept trying to watch it and kept falling asleep. And I don't know that I've ever gotten all the way through that movie. And then after
That's
that, I never
amazing.
bothered with them. And then on a whim, I went and saw 5. I think Eric wanted to see it. And I back when he was living here, he and I saw movies together all the time. And so we went, and I hadn't even seen the movie before it. That I, set up a lot of things for that movie, but it was really watchable all by itself. And I just thought the both the action and the characterization in that movie were kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They were just wonderful, just really really smart. Everything that was going on with that. I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't really sit here and review it right now. But I just remember it being thrilling, and I remember caring about everything about what happened to people. You'll have to see that.
Yeah, I gotta see.
Robert
that.
says the new one is 7. Okay, that's what I
Oh, is
wasn't
the
sure
new
if
one
it was
7?
5
I
or
thought the
6.
new one was 6. Okay.
But yeah, so I will probably go see that in the theater. I'd like to watch the others leading up to it.
Do you like the action in Bond movies?
I mean, that's a real loaded question, right? Because, a lot of them are quite different.
Yeah. Do you like the new, like the newer ones with what's his face? Like the action in those.
Daniel Craig. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Craig.
It gets a little bit closer to some other more modern franchises, certainly, but like I think they did a good job with those of making them stand apart enough from like what's the what's the movie I'm trying to think of? Born, for the Born movies, but there's a little bit of that. You need to see those at some point. I think you'd really like those.
Yeah. What's another action movie?
Well, and I know you think of yourself as kind of a big Bond fan, but you haven't seen a ton of them yet.
No, I haven't.
So, like, how do you feel about the action in the earlier Bond movies?
In the earlier,
because what I was going to say is, obviously, I mean, this is about eras as much as anything.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened with my camera?
I don't know. It's just kind of like.
1 second, I'll try to fix that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you answer that question. How do you feel about the action in the earlier Bond movies that you've seen?
I feel like the earlier Bond movies are a lot more like spy and like sneaking around and stuff than like action and stuff.
Yeah, that's a great
Because
point.
I feel like the action and stuff, I feel like there is some of that, but there's a lot more like, sneaking around with my gun and, car chases and
It's before
like
the
that.
era of blockbusters.
Yeah.
So it's not so much about, I mean, it gets to this point, but early on, it's not so much about establish a bunch of set pieces and then build a story around it.
Yeah.
It's more like building the suspense to the bigger action scenes when you finally get there. But you're right. I mean, they're actually spy movies, and
Yeah.
in some cases, I think we lose that in places.
Yeah, in the Craig movies and the Brosnan movies.
I feel like GoldenEye is still very, well, I was gonna say it feels very spy thrillery, at least in its, and I mean they all fit in that genre. I mean, that's what it is. But you're right. I mean, that's still like big set pieces and getting to like crazy bombastic nutso action, especially when you get to the crazy tank scene. I don't know if you've seen that. But
Yeah, that's
nuts.
the only part I've seen of
Oh, is it?
GoldenEye.
We'll have to
I've
watch that
seen-
at some point.
So I've seen the first two Bond movies, and then I've seen Casino Royale, Skyfall, and No Time to Die. And then I've read Casino Royale, and right now I'm reading For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, I didn't realize you'd started that.
Yeah, it's a collection of short stories from like 65, I think.
It's kind of
pretty
cool
good.
that you're getting into Bond through the literature as much or
Yeah.
more than through the movies, because you haven't watched a ton yet.
No, I haven't.
How much of Craig have you seen? It's just the good ones, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen Spectre, and I haven't seen
Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace, yeah.
Well, that's
Which
okay.
has nothing to do with Quantum of Solace, the short story.
See, I've always said, have you read that, or do you just know about it?
No, it's part of the book that I'm reading right now, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Robert Wilde says every Craig Bond movie has kind of a different feel. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
When I saw it in the theater, I felt like Casino Royale was getting maybe a little bit closer to that, like I said, Bourne thing, and then it falls out of that as it goes along. But having seen it more recently, I don't even think I agree with myself on that now. Like, I remember thinking that in the theater, but I don't know that it really has that.
Is the Unbreakable series action movies?
Unbreakable?
Yeah.
Or you must be thinking of a different thing. You talking about the M. Night Shyamalan trilogy?
Yeah, with glass.
Okay. No, I thought maybe you were talking about I thought maybe you said the wrong thing and you meant Expendables or something.
No.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's got
I haven't seen.
It's got action elements certainly, but it's a lot more predicated on psychological thriller.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with. Sorry, just jumping back to Bond for a second. I agree with Robert that it does kind of feel like it changes not genre, but just tone a bit. And
I do like that.
Yeah, I mean they tend to be paced not exactly the same as they go along, and it's kind of cool because it's it's an aging Bond, and so as he's in different places in his life, the kind of movie that we're making is evolving.
Yeah.
I've always said, or at least ever since that last one, but I made this point a lot, that there is a great James Bond trilogy built into those 5 movies. So, like, if you skip 2 and 4, there's a really good trilogy, but you have to skip 2 and 4 to see it. And it breaks down a little bit because it is kind of weird, and you've done it, but it is kind of weird watching that last one, No Time to Die, having not seen Spectre, because if you did just watch the 3 good ones in a row, you'd be like, where did Spectre come from? But all you really need is the cliff notes. You know, you just need somebody to hand you a piece of paper that's like, you know, the 5 sentences, the important things that happen in that movie, and then skip it because it's not good.
And No Time to Die has the same like sidekick lady as Spectre, right? Which was,
Is she set up in that?
I think she.
I don't even remember. I've seen it the one time.
Yeah.
Matthew Bass, Jason has not seen Mad Max Fury Road. I think he might be just old enough now that I would consider showing him that. I think you would love that. And I've not seen any of the other Mad Max movies, but I did see that in the theater, and it's also thrilling, and it has a wonderful atmosphere and a surprisingly likable main character, considering that he's like most Tom Hardy characters. He has a thing on his face, and he doesn't talk very much.
Yeah.
Because that's a Tom Hardy movie. And I'm not a huge, like, car chase guy. But, of course, that's a big, car chase franchise.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's kind of the whole point, is it's post-apocalyptic.
It's like Fast and Furious.
Everybody's driving. Well, no, it's not like... It's only in that everybody's driving cars.
Okay.
But it's like, it's the future, and it's bleak, and there's a lot of desert and a lot of, broken down cities and stuff, and it's people chasing after each other, and it's basically like super violent Mario Kart all the time.
That's great.
But yes, I agree with Robert. That's definitely one of the best action movies I've ever seen. Not certainly a huge genre for me overall when we take out the superhero side of it, because what's weird about action is what we're really talking about when we say action is just big blockbusters with fight scenes and car chases and explosions, and that's kind of everything past a certain budget these days, trying to get people in seats that's not like an animated movie for kids. So like a lot of things fall into the genre. And you hear people complain all the time that we don't make action movies the way we used to, because so much of it is the superhero formula now, no matter what the actual genre is.
Yeah.
And people complain that, and I've not seen them yet, but people complain, any of them, but people complain that the Fast and the Furious movies have just degenerated into superhero films.
Oh.
And so when we say action, anybody clicking on this video is probably going to the Die Hard place and the Lethal Weapon place and even Terminator and RoboCop and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
RoboCop I call a superhero movie, but you know what I mean. And you have to keep in mind that the main thing I talk about on the channel is, by and large, mostly still action movies, but the main thing I'm there for isn't the fisticuffs.
Right.
So I'm definitely out of my element a little bit with this particular topic. Like, I have not seen every James Bond movie. I've seen quite a few of them now. And somebody mentioned on Your Majesty's Secret Service, that is on a script level my favorite.
Really?
Yes. And you got to see that at some point.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch through them, but I'm having a little bit of a hard time finding time to do it. That's why I'm just reading the books, because they're easier to find time to do it.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
Robert, I think I agree with that. He says Raiders of the Lost Ark is the big shift in what we think of as American action cinema. We didn't have a big blockbuster with that much action and stunts in one movie before that. I think you need Jaws first, but Jaws is not in that category, certainly. I think a lot of people point to that as kind of the birth of what we think of as the blockbuster or the big, like, kind of spectacle movie. And then at some point it shifts more to the big adventure kind of movies, and Star Wars is really important for that too.
Yeah. Yeah, when I think action movies, I think like Terminator and RoboCop and Demolition Man and those kinds of things more than, and like even, I mean, things that I haven't seen like Rambo and stuff. But
Yeah, no, Lewis Cox. I've never sat through a Fast and the Furious movie.
have you tried to watch a Fast and the Furious
No,
movie?
I've not watched a frame of them past trailers in movies that I went to the theater to see. So when
watch
you're
one.
so when you think of the action genre, your mind goes more to 90s stuff than anything.
90s stuff, yeah.
Which is probably my fault.
Well, yeah, they're also good.
Well, I mean, a lot of them aren't, but I've shown you good ones.
Yeah,
or
that's
ones
true.
that at least we really like. Speed.
I mean, I don't
You don't like Speed?
really like that movie.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, but it's that era, and it's action,
Yeah,
and it's Keanu Reeves.
Speed and Matrix and
So who is the actor that most immediately comes to mind when you think of just action movies in general?
I mean, it depends on the day. It's usually either Keanu Reeves or Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The big three in my mind are probably Reeves, Schwarzenegger, and then
what's his face?
yeah, I've suddenly
Rocky?
blanked. Well, yeah, Stallone would certainly be in there, but I like Stallone more for non-action stuff, or at least not action movies in the way we're talking about them. Like, you know, Rocky has the obligatory ring fights, but they're not action movies.
They're not action movies.
Yeah, but I was gonna say Bruce Willis is probably the third one.
Bruce Willis, right? Karate Kid?
I guess that counts.
I guess
I mean,
that counts. It has
that's-
it has a lot of like, it does have.
I think Karate Kid
that-
is closer to Rocky.
It does have those kinds of like ring fights and stuff, but it also has the kind of like, you know, bullies beating them up and stuff.
That's true, but it's not really set pieces, right? Like, it's still born more out of the dramatic situations, and it's more dialogue driven.
It is, yeah.
I'm not saying the Karate Kid movies are like super sophisticated or anything, but they're a little bit more. That first one more than the others, but they're a little bit more in that like mainstream drama place.
Yeah. I would say Cobra Kai has a lot more action than Karate Kid.
Cobra Kai is absolutely just a straight up action schlock kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I say that. I mean, it's also a high school angsty drama.
Yeah.
Again, a very, very broad sort of
Very,
genre.
very
A lot
broad.
of stuff you can fit in this. I mean, another reason that Keanu Reeves is in, I don't want to say my top. When I say three, I mean the three I think of most readily. But he would certainly be in a list of best action.
I mean, you got John
hero
Wick and
actors
you got
for
Matrix
me too.
and you
but
got
but
Speed.
Matrix has a lot to do. That's what I was going to say with why he comes to mind most readily, because the Matrix I've always said is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
And
It's
again,
very much up there.
not because it's an action movie, but it is an action movie.
Yeah. And I mean, my favorite movie of all time is Demolition Man, which that's also an action movie.
Yeah, but that's
so-
a straight up action movie. The Matrix is a blend of a lot of stuff. Well, and I
It's
mean that's not fair
sci-fi
because
and
Demolition Man
action and-
obviously is a science fiction movie and it's a satire. I don't know. I guess they
Comedy.
both are as much that way as the other, right? Where
Yeah. They're kind of in the same boat, except Demolition Man is a lot
It's a
more
comedy.
comedy driven than Matrix.
Yeah.
I mean, Matrix has jokes.
No, it's a satire, and The Matrix is an epic.
Yeah.
Most certainly. Aliens, I like a lot too. Robert and
I
Tyler are
always thought
talking
of
about
that
that.
as like more of like a horror movie, but I never saw it.
Well, and it's action horror. Yeah, it's action sci-fi, thriller. A lot of blend of genres here.
Yeah.
Can you do a top 5 off the top of your head of things that count
The count.
in the action genre? Maybe try to leave out, and you probably would anyway, maybe try to leave out, like, costume superheroes.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of variety.
So, I don't know.
But, like, other
probably,
genre stuff would count.
Yeah, I could probably name 5. I don't know if I could do it in order.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So this is in no particular order.
Demolition Man, John Wick 1. I think more than all the others, because I really like the other ones, but John Wick 1 really stands out as like a standalone kind of thing, and I really like that story, and I really like going back to it, and it's great.
The big difference between The Matrix and John Wick, besides they're obviously completely different kinds of stories in different genres, is The Matrix is a standalone movie that should maybe have never had sequels. Like, it could have, but it's a tall order. And John Wick is a wonderful standalone movie that didn't need them, but once you have them, it enriches it.
Yeah,
that's the big difference.
And I think the sequels make the first one even better. Just because, I mean, the sequels are... I mean, some movies, like, the sequels make the originals, like, way better because the sequels are so bad. But I feel like with John Wick, the sequels are so good, and they add on to, like, the world and stuff, and so they make the first one a lot better. Let's see, so John Wick, Matrix, Demolition Man, Terminator 2.
Yep.
I don't...
Have you broken out that Steelbook yet?
I don't think I have, actually.
We gotta do that. I got Jayson the Steelbook for Terminator 2 for Christmas last year.
It's really pretty.
Or maybe it was the year before, even. I can't remember.
I cannot. I don't know what other big action movies that I really like are there. Like,
things you've seen.
Things I've seen. Because the thing is, I like RoboCop, but I can't remember a thing about that movie.
Yeah, and you don't remember Die Hard that well. And Lethal Weapon. I don't know how well you remember that.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, have you not? I thought you had.
I've never seen that movie, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I can name 4, but I don't know if I can do...
Top Gun? Maverick?
I mean, Top Gun more than Maverick, but... Is Top Gun really an action movie?
I mean, every now and again they start flying airplanes. Top Gun is definitely an action movie. I mean, sorry, Maverick is definitely an action movie.
Yeah, I'd probably say
particularly when you get into that third act.
Gun... Yeah, especially that third act. I'd probably say...
Aren't you kind of an Indiana Jones fan?
I am.
So, I mean, Raiders could certainly go on that list.
No, not Raiders.
Oh, really? Okay.
That series gets way better as it goes along. So
you're the only person I've ever heard say that.
So, the thing is, Raiders is good, and it's something that is... Like, you need to see that movie. But Temple of Doom is better, and then 3 is better than Temple of Doom.
See, I'm the only person you're gonna find probably that agrees with that, or at least that finds the last one, Last Crusade, like the most entertaining. I don't even think down to a technical level, it is the best of those. I don't think it is a better movie than Raiders. I think I like it more.
I think action-wise...
which is probably blasphemy to somebody, but I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan, so I don't mind revealing that.
I think action-wise, Temple of Doom is the best, but...
Do you like all the weirdness of that movie?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
3 is hilarious, and... You kind of just need to watch that for Bond. What's his name?
What are we talking about right now? Oh, yeah, for Sean Connery, yeah.
For Sean Connery.
Sorry, I was reading comments and I had like 15 franchises in my head. Yeah. No, and their chemistry is wonderful, and it's hilarious because Sean Connery wasn't, like, old enough to be Harrison Ford's father.
Yeah.
Like, their age gap was not that great.
Yeah.
If memory serves.
No,
Robert says Raiders tells a better story than Temple of Doom, but there's a lot to love about Temple of Doom. Yeah, I agree with that. Now, having said that, Temple of Doom is the one I've seen the least number of times.
I've seen Temple Doom the most. So I've seen Raiders once, I've seen 3 once, and I've seen Temple of Doom twice. That's how.
No, Robert, I wasn't clear enough when I was with what I was saying. So when I said I agree with Jason, I mean in everything he was saying about Last Crusade. I don't mean that they get. I don't think I agree that they get better as they go along. Temple of Doom, I don't know well enough to even have a discussion about it right now. I just remember it's very weird.
Temple
But
of Doom is the one where
it's probably my least favorite, if I have a least favorite, but I just don't know that franchise that well.
I love Temple of
And
Doom.
I'm talking about of the original 3, there's no reason to even throw, 4 in there, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Temple of Doom is the one where Indiana Jones gets mind controlled, and they have the weird thing with the mine carts. There's a big mine cart chase. It's insane.
Spediv Excuse says, not saying that movie has to have story on a level of The Godfather or the like, but I just don't care about movies like John Wick, where the action is the main selling point. I feel like those have solid character-driven stories, but they're very simple stories.
Yeah.
And so I can totally understand why that wouldn't be somebody's bag, but I find it easy to get wrapped up and invested in that. At the end of the day, it kind of depends on whether you can really latch on to a revenge thriller like that, because you have to kind of, I don't mean adjust your morality, but you have to like adjust your appreciation for a character based on a morality that you're not going to probably agree with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy is stubborn and he's not going to let sleeping dogs lie, literally. And so he's going to take out everybody that's involved in making him feel the way he does after his wife dies.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. And so it's the consummate character that refuses to change. And I do find it, when you say the action is the main selling point, yeah, literally the main selling point. But I do think that there's good stories there, and a good ongoing story. It's just, like I said, a very simple one.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of a guy who actually got out of that life and could not help but get back in for the most personal of reasons was really fresh.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think that's why 1 is still my favorite John Wick movie. Just because of
You just like that initial premise.
Yeah, I like that initial premise.
Robert says I should definitely watch First Blood. He says I think you would like that one. You don't need to see any of the other Rambo movies, though. Yeah, I've never watched that. I haven't seen any of the Rambo movies. It just didn't look like my thing, so I never bothered with it growing up or afterwards.
I feel like the only thing happening in those movies the only thing I know about Rambo is he has guns and he goes like this. Ah! Like, that's all I know about Rambo.
Yeah, and that at the time, in the 70s and 80s, you had a lot of movies like that where the selling point was the macho-ness, was the bodybuilders turned actors, the big muscular guys grunting, which does nothing for me on its own.
Right.
I can't get excited about that. Spetty Viskew, the main problem with John Wick sequels is they tell 90 minutes of story with 2+ hours runtimes, which is funny because I glanced at that and thought you said 24-hour runtimes, and I was like, that's pretty hyperbolic. But yeah, there's definitely a dance component to those, and The Matrix has that as well. I mean, like the hand-to-hand like combat scenes and even the gunplay scenes with that, all the martial arts and the gunplay stuff definitely goes on longer than it has to tell the story it's telling. So I mean, it's really pushing the envelope as far as it can in the is this progressing story, or is this just a set piece with a cookie cutter plot to get us there argument. Like,
Yeah.
it's a real fine line.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is kind of a dance component. I've said this a lot before with action movies, but the action scenes in an action movie are the same thing as the songs, the musical scenes in a musical, where
Yeah.
all the dialogue around them is telling the story that gets you to those scenes, and then generally speaking, in a not as good movie, we stop everything to do the action or to do the musical number, and then the story starts happening after that. And in a more sophisticated project, both things are happening in tandem. But I do think that it's a fine line, and I think that there are movies where in both of those genres, everything does stop, and there isn't necessarily a lot of story being told, but you are just, technically, where it's like we're getting more exposition, we're getting more plot points, but where enough is being revealed about characters, or you're just, appreciating being with those people as much as you are, that, it still feels story driven enough.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's as much about like the technical prowess, again, of both I don't know, like dance choreography and singing and all of that, and then the choreography of action, as it is the actual story you're telling. And
I have
that's where you sometimes lose people. And that used to lose me more, and now I've seen it done better.
Yeah.
So like with John Wick, I'm kind of more okay with everything stopping for those scenes than I feel like I ought to be, being a story guy as I am. Like, I've been won over by that. I feel like they've earned it for me. If the first movie had action scenes that went as long as they did in 4, I would have been out. But by 4, they'd really won me over on that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a point was being made enough with that, where it's like, John has every opportunity to stop, and he's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
And then with the payoff at the end of that movie, not to give it away if you've not seen it, it really makes all of that worthwhile to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a really long time.
That's fine. I have a question that might be a little hard. What is your favorite action scene in a movie?
Wow. I gotta say, at the moment, I'm having a hard time getting past, and this will be a spoiler for that movie, but I'm having a hard time getting past the staircase in John Wick 4. I was so impressed with that. It really got me in the theater.
Yeah.
And
Because
that
it's
has
actually entertaining.
lately kind of trumped a lot of things for me.
Well, I think also with John Wick, John Wick 3's book scene.
I know you love that.
I love that scene so much. And I like all the like glass breaking scenes and like mirror breaking scenes in those movies too.
But before that, it might have been, I don't know. Like, what are you gonna say?
The motorcycle scene in Terminator 2?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was trying to decide what action scene in Terminator 2, but that's probably the one.
Yeah, toward the beginning of the movie with well, I guess it's more like half an hour in, but with the kid and all that.
Robert says the helicopter sequence in Mission Impossible Fallout ranks pretty high up there for me. Yeah, that was incredible. I've only seen it the one time in the theater, so I need to look at it again because it's been a while.
I still haven't seen Predator yet, Robert Wilde. I want to see Alien first. And I don't know if I am old enough to see Predator.
Yeah,
I know I'm old enough to see
I'd show
Alien.
you Predator at this point. Given some other things that I've let you watch lately, like yeah, you can handle that.
Yeah.
And I would show you Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
I'll be really interested to see what you think of those movies.
What is the third one just called Aliens 3?
Yes.
Or I mean Alien 3,
It's called
or is
Alien 3. Yep. They got real
it should
creative
have
with
been
that title.
more aliens. And then
It should
even
have
more
been
aliens.
all
And then
the
a whole
aliens.
bunch of aliens. And then all the aliens.
I think they put the 3 just above it like it was to the third power, like Alien Cubed. But nobody called it that. It was just Alien 3. Am I right about
yeah,
that, or am I remembering that wrong? I think I'm gonna look at the logo for that. I think they did that. I think it was like
Wait.
Alien Cubed. That
Yeah,
actually would have
yeah,
been a
it
cool
was.
premise, right? Where you have like
It
a
was.
Was it? Yeah, that's what I remembered.
Yeah.
They should have done that though. They should have gone all the way with that idea, where it's just like aliens in cubes, you know, like board cubes, or everybody's trapped in a little cube, and then there's aliens. They're outside of our cubes.
Do you like Alien Cubed?
What are we gonna do? I saw it once, and I remember liking it fine. I think there's kind of a consensus with that movie for most people that like it's not bad, but it doesn't live up at all to the heights of the first two. And I don't know what you know about those movies, Jason, but that was one of the earlier cases of let's have a sequel that's in quite a different genre from the original.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, just like Terminator was, really.
Yeah.
Because Terminator is basically a slasher film,
an action movie than Terminator 1,
more or less.
is,
You know, you've got the villain that's coming after us, and it's
yeah. Terminator 1 is a lot more like a horror,
kind of a horror movie.
Stuff.
And your second movie has elements of that, but it's much more of a action thriller thing.
Yeah, and it's a lot less. It's a lot more for kids, not kids, but like it's a lot more for the family than for like adults.
And I don't know that Aliens was that way, but Aliens was much more of an action movie.
Yeah.
Than the first film.
What do you think is the worst Terminator movie?
I thought you were gonna say the worst action film because I have an answer to that.
What is it?
It's Skyscraper.
Skyscraper. What happens in that?
Skyscraper was trying to be like the what am I trying to think of? Sorry, we've been talking about so many different movies.
I know.
It was what was the first movie we were talking about? Bruce Willis. I just can't think of anything right now.
Oh, Die Hard?
Die Hard. It was like Die Hard times 10.
Oh.
It's like, Die Hard was in a building. We're going to be in this giant friggin' skyscraper. And it was just insane, and it had some of the most ridiculous leaps in logic I've ever seen in anything. It's actually not the worst action movie I've ever seen, but I love making fun of it.
Is it not very good?
No, it's not. It's not good. And I think that was Dwayne Johnson.
Oh no.
I saw that the night your mom went into labor with Mikey.
Oh no.
It's pretty funny. Brandon and I came home, and your mom's water broke, and I had to take her to the hospital.
That's
Isn't that
really
great?
funny. But yeah, what
I just
is
couldn't think
the
of Die
worst
Hard. We just got
Terminator
finished talking about 35 different franchises.
What is the worst Terminator movie?
The one that ticks me off the most is the last one.
Dark Fate?
Yeah, I'll never watch that again if I can help it. And Austin and I were doing commentaries through those movies, and we probably will finish it, but I don't know if I can sit through Dark Fate again. The one before it is probably stupider, but it's more fun.
Yeah.
Genesis.
Terminator. Oh, Genesis.
It's the right kind of terrible.
Salvation is the one before that, right?
Yes.
And then
Maybe
before that's 3. Oh no. I've only watched past 3, and 3 is not good, cause it's the one with the girl in the dog kennel, and the best action scene in that is Terminator is Schwarzenegger just going up and just randomly punching cars.
Yeah, I know you love that.
It's hilarious.
I think maybe actually the worst action movie in general that I've seen is that last Jurassic World movie.
Oh gosh.
Wouldn't you
Does
just
that
give anything to
count?
not watch that again? At
I
least,
don't.
at least before you get to superhero stuff, because once you get back to costume and superhero, all bets are off. There's some other things I can point to that are just as bad or worse than that. But yeah,
Oh,
Jurassic
well,
Plague.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Jurassic Plague is not very good.
Lewis Cox, Cap, has Jason seen the original Mortal Kombat movie yet? Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
it's
that's
one
an
of my
action
favorites.
movie. You count that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
With your top 5 that we were talking about, I know we said we wouldn't do lists. We didn't prepare a list, but I just wanted to see what Jason would come up with off the top of his head. Do none of the Craig movies make that list for you? Like,
I thought of that.
Like you're not going to include Skyfall or Casino
maybe
Royale?
Skyfall.
Well, only that last one I know you liked a lot.
Well, the thing is, I can't tell you if Casino Royale is better than Skyfall, or if Skyfall is better than Casino Royale.
I think it is, but for your sensibilities, I imagine you like Casino Royale just as well or better.
I really like the idea of just, I don't know. And also for Casino Royale, that one's based off of a book, and I had a really fun experience with that because I had read the book previously.
Yeah.
Before watching that movie, and I just really liked like comparing the book to, or the movie to the book.
And you hadn't really had that experience with anything before.
No, not really.
That was probably fun because very few people would do that. You know,
Yeah.
would have read that before they
And
saw that
Casino
movie.
Royale is probably my favorite book of all time by now, because I've seen it like I've read it like 3 times.
Obviously, there's plenty of diehard Bond fans that would have read that book. Don't get me wrong, but the majority of people that went to that movie wouldn't have been aware of that source material. It's kind of like comics to superhero movies. Matthew Bass, The Mask of Zorro was a great return to classic action adventure films. Have I shown you that yet?
No, you haven't.
That is a nigh perfect movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that movie is brilliant. I wish we still made stuff like that. Yeah. Well, and I mean, part of the reason that movie was so great though is because back then we didn't make stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. Mask of Zorro is what year is that?
that's 97, 98. I've done a
97,
commentary on that with Vince, by the way, for anybody that wants to watch the movie with us.
That was one of the last things. That was like 2020, right? Around there that you did that? Can't remember when you did that.
Yes. 20 or 21. Yeah, it was shortly after we moved into the house, so 20 probably. But anyway, well, Jason, let's go ahead and wrap things up here, shall we?
Yeah.
So
let's
what
do
would
that.
you say at the moment is like your favorite action franchise? Like if they made another movie in a franchise, in a sequence right now, like they announced it tomorrow, what would you be like? Either the next chapter in something, or bringing something back, or rebooting something. What would you get most excited about? Or what would be, or if not that, what would be a star where you're like, yay, he's in a movie again?
The thing is, right, I cannot tell you if I would be more excited about a sequel to Matrix 4 or a sequel to John Wick 4. Because if they made a Matrix 5, I would go see it because I did like that 4th movie.
And you and I are two of the only people on the planet that did, but... And it's got all kinds of problems, don't get me wrong.
It does have a lot of problems, but it is fun.
But I liked it.
With John Wick 4, that just had such a good ending, and I don't want another one. Like,
And it's looking like that probably will happen, by the way, but...
yeah, I want another... I am fine with, like, a spin-off, right? Like, like Ballerina. But I don't know if I'm like, I don't know if I would be super excited about John Wick 5. I would go watch it, but I wouldn't be super excited about it. And I feel like
I think I'm in the same place. Yeah.
I feel like Matrix 5 I might be a little more excited about, just because I want to see what they would do if they ever made another one.
Do you want to watch that TV show? When that
what?
comes out? The Continental?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Well, guys, thanks a bunch for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will be back tomorrow night with a new episode of Request. Austin and I are reviewing. I got to go read some more of this actually right now. Austin and I are doing a review of a 12-issue maxi series from the late 90s from Marvel called Earth X. That was kind of a big series. There was a sequel to that called Universe X that was also long, and I think there might have even been another one. I can't remember, but it's kind of their answer to DC's Kingdom Come, where it's a future where everybody's got superpowers. And then on Thursday, we'll have a new Captain Logan show. A lot of news happening that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet, so look forward to that. We'll talk probably pretty briefly about the Kraven trailer, and there's been... we'll probably talk a little bit of box office for Flash and other things like that. And then Friday, if all goes according to plan, we're going to be doing a... commentary for Punisher Warzone, and then Sunday, the plan right now is to finally do the spoiler cast for The Flash, which we did a lengthy but non-spoiler review of last week, and
I'm
Jayson
gonna be on that
should
one.
be there for that. Jayson, are you gonna come with me to see it again? Because as much as I don't want to have to sit through it again, I feel like I need to.
You to see it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well, you and I will go do that Saturday or Sunday morning then.
I want to see if it's any worse or any better the second time.
Yeah. But
Like,
I mean, I'm not curious enough to know because I don't want to have to sit through it again.
I know.
'Cause I really hated
I don't
it,
want
but-
to either, because that movie, I had a fun time with it, but I did not really like it.
Well, once again, thanks for all the interaction in the comments there. A lot of folks throwing out their favorite action movies right now. Played Out says T1 and 2 is it for me. Robert mentions the great action sequences in The Lost World. That's not a good movie, but it's got a couple of really killer, amazing action sequences.
Same with 3, I think. I like the action sequences in 3.
Yeah, there's some okay stuff there, but you know, when you said like best, sorry, we're back to the discussion again, but when you said the what's your favorite like scene in an action movie, I don't know that this would be my absolute favorite, but it would probably be up there. That trailer scene in Lost World is really astounding.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
that still stays with me from the theater.
I think the best action scene in a Jurassic Park movie is the kitchen scene in 1.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely. No way around it. And that's in my top 5 for action movies, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's probably Matrix, Jurassic Park. I feel like I need to put a John Wick in there because I love that franchise so much at this point, but I think 4 might be my favorite right at the moment. Maybe it'll change. Like, maybe that's still, fresh enough.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, it's hard to say. I like Demolition Man. I want to count, but I don't know if I love it because it's an action movie. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not the action in it. As much.
Yeah.
I don't know that this would make my list. I like Escape from LA a lot more than most people.
Oh. I've never seen that movie.
That's what I still like. But again, for the satire as much as anything.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Oh, Lethal Weapon is certainly would be in my top 5.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan.
Yes. And I was Jayson.
Oh, wait, yeah, Top Gun Maverick might actually be in my 5 at this point.
Yeah.
Robert.
I liked that movie, but I can't remember much about it, honestly.
Oh, well, you should watch it again. It's great.
I should watch it again, yeah.
We'll see you later, folks. I was Captain Logan. This was Jayson.
And that was me.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.